So how do values play a role in purpose, or are they the same thing?
How do values play a role in purpose?
My purpose in life.
Our purpose.
Or do I first have to identify my purpose? Or do I identify my purpose based on my values?
Okay, so what you do is this. So you get your value system like we have here. That's what most people do. But then you sit down, and you, like you're asking the question, then you start thinking more about purpose. And it's just like, so you're going a bit deeper, and it's like, you're going a bit deeper, and then it's just like you're thinking maybe more, what's been those drivers throughout your life?
Okay.
What have been?
Okay.
Okay.
So, sorry to interrupt you. So the values are actually driving my purpose. They help me achieve my purpose. They are the house.
Well, yeah, okay, but no, there's something else. It's like what I was saying. What's really important to you? And it's like, okay, so for me, truth is really important to me. Like, I'm a long-term meditator, and meditation basically is a preparation for death. So meditation is not about relaxing, even though that could be an effect of meditating. It's preparation. Meditation is preparation for death, right? And so, and a lot of spirituality, a lot of sort of like Eastern religion is preparation for death. This exploration into death. And so then there's like, one has to make an inquiry into existence. One makes an inquiry into death. And this is me talking, all right? And so then there has to be this openness. You're hearing these things? Openness and curiosity and fascination. And so as a true, or for me to be a true, authentic seeker of truth with a capital T, all right, with a capital T, I have to be willing to challenge all of my assumptions, all of my beliefs, everything that I've actually learned. Because everything that I've learned and read and been taught may be wrong. All right?
Right.
So you see where I'm going with this? It's just like...
Yes, I do.
So then what I did with over the years with religion, I'll explore this and I'll learn this. And then my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, they were Seventh-day Adventists and whatever. And so about 15, 20 years ago, and I want to get rapport with people. So I watched all of 34 of their videos and whatever. And I'm going into this with a sense of curiosity and openness. And then from that, I go, okay. Then I go, okay, I'll follow through. And then I go back to I think it's the Kabbalah, with the Jewish Kabbalah. And then you get the image of the guy sitting in meditation with the 7 subtle bodies. And I go, that's really interesting. That's like what they have like in India, And I'm following it all the way through. And then I follow all the way through with the death experience. So the descriptions of death, they have like all the way through Asia and then European countries and all the whatever. And there's different experiences depending on their religion and their culture and ethnicity and this and that. And it's just like, that's really fascinating. And so in that, there's the sort of at the core of that, because you're asking me about purpose. So
purpose, yeah.
The core. So what's really important to me is to be a sovereign individual. And that means I would rather suffer with a headache than take drugs to get rid of the headache. So I don't want to take any drugs or things which would affect my cognitive abilities.
Functions, right? Yeah. Right.
Even though if I may have to suffer, it doesn't matter, because what's really important for me is to be there at the process of death. All right. And I don't want any interference from anybody else at all. All right. So, and with the religion and spirituality, what's really important for me is the actual truth. It's like, so I don't align myself with any particular religion or dogma or doctrine. I will examine them, which I have done in great detail over the years, and get right totally into it and look at it and explore it and do all the different practices and things. But I'm moving in there as a dispassionate observer, as like an explorer. And so in that, there's like a core essence that I have of being absolutely true to myself, true to myself. And then when I find these truths, or when I find, say, facts about history, I really want to share that with other people, but you can't always share that with other people because they get triggered or react. So then it's like, well, how do I actually then teach people or motivate people to run a process of inquiry for themselves? So I'm teaching process, not content. So I want to encourage people to run these processes of inquiries for themselves, so they can actually explore whatever they want to explore. They do it their own way, but they're actually following a process. They're not being delivered content, and they're not just believing the content. And sort of, right. Hopefully that sort of gives you an idea of what's really important to me. So where I could just be actually doing something and just making money, it's like, no, I have to be finding some surreptitious way to actually to wake people up, to get them to really explore their presuppositions and their assumptions, you know? So, okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's very in-depth and very amazing. So curiosity is very important. But remember, we're coming back to that purpose now. So the purpose for you in your life would be what? What would your purpose be? To be, as you say, an observer in life, learning as much as you can, being open-minded? Would it be challenging everything that you hold as true to make sure that you are holding up truth, and then share that with other people? What is your purpose? Well,
the purpose is what I just tried to describe there.
It's very deep, though, isn't it? I mean,
well, yeah, it's like it's like for me. And I got to learn from everything that I actually do. So I'm constantly reflecting on things, learning from my past and what I could have done better, learning from mistakes that I made. For example, when I was 15, so I was brought up in Perth, WA. There was a newspaper, weekend newspaper, the Sunday Times, and there was an article in there about this guy in India. At that time, it was called Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh, right? And there was an article about this guy, and he had like a tiny little commune, and there was all these Germans who were there visiting him, and I didn't know who they were, but they were actually saying, yes, it's these Germans were there, but the tent, the auditorium they built, kept on falling down. And I read that little article in the Sunday Times, and I said to myself, I want to go there. And I was only 15 years old. And I was a working class kid, and I thought, well, I'm never going to be able to go to India. And I threw the newspaper away, and I regretted it, not keeping the article. And then, of course, you know, I get to be 17 years of age, and I buy, when I'm 18, I buy a V8 Monaro and whatever, doing burnouts and silly things like that. And it's just like, God, if I only just held it onto the article. A couple of years later, I had a job at university. On my annual holidays, I could have gone to India when I was about 18. And it took me until I was 1984, before I went to see Osho in Oregon in America, and then a few years later in India. See, and there's that time difference. It's just like there, I knew what I wanted to do, but I had a belief that it wasn't possible at that time. Like, it's limiting belief or whatever it is.
Sure.
If I'd actually gone, no, this is what I want to do. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but let's see what happens. And that way of thinking is much more functional than what I just said, oh, no, I can't do it.
Right.
So that's what I do
I hear what
constantly,
you're saying.
learning from the past like that. So, because if I'd done that, it would have compressed, it would have saved so much time in my personal development.
Yeah, I hear you.